The terrorist has finally been put down. Thank God, Brian Johnson is gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coconut Curry Podcast and another episode here. If you're new here, we are three college students at the University of Pittsburgh just chatting about sports and hopefully offering a fresh new perspective on things. Please like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, even if you don't watch the full video. We're up to 53 subscribers right now, which is
we're breaking records.
Yeah, our first 100 view video on YouTube, which is we appreciate
big game.
Big games. I mean,
we made it.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here. It only took 2 years.
Never do that again.
We usually talk about all type of sports, but especially we have a lot of short football games, so this could be a little bit shorter of an episode. But as Jalen Hurts would say, we're keeping the main thing, and going to stay on football probably today. But at the end, as Peter will hate, we might talk about Joel Embiid a little bit. But as we always do first, we're going to react to comments. And unfortunately, there weren't that many comments.
I was mad.
This week.
No one was getting mad at us.
I know, which is disappointing.
I was trying to do some hot takes. I guess people legitimately agreed this time, which I was kind of sad about. I'm not going to lie.
This is what happens when you go 3-1 and 4-0.
I know. We actually have some decent takes.
Yeah. But there was one that cracked me up where someone said, quote, Packers outplayed the 49ers for 58 minutes, end quote. And we'll get into the game in a little bit, but I would just like to say
58 minutes, but all right.
Are
we just going to get right into it?
Well, no, I'll just respond. If you ever say for your takeaway from a game is actually this team outplayed in the whole game, but they lost. Like, okay, but there's usually a reason why they lost the game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually not just like the referees, or it's not like their kicker broke his leg as he went to go kick the game-winning field goal or any. Like, besides those extreme circumstances, you usually lose the game for a specific reason. So, sure, the Packers outplayed the 49ers for 58 minutes. But we'll get into the reasons why they didn't win the football game, and it's because of their roster, it's because of their players.
Because they're cursed.
And so when you play a better team like the 49ers, they didn't make those mistakes. So I just thought it was a funny comment, because that would be the same way of saying, the Bills, they almost had the Chiefs. It's like, well, they almost did, but they didn't. And the difference why, and we'll get into that too, but and that goes for any game, whether it's basketball or whatnot. Like, if they had just hit that 3-point shot they would have won the game.
Or they could have just scored more points beforehand and not been in that situation.
Exactly. So I thought that was a little bit funny comment. But my favorite segment of the week, Raj's favorite segment of the week, maybe Peter's favorite segment of the week, Disgruntled Moment of the Week award. We give it out every week. As we have noted, disgruntled means angry or dissatisfied. I'm going to start with Raj.
This is a rough one.
Because I don't know the story, so I'm excited to hear why Raj is probably disgruntled, because he's always disgruntled.
Over the last few weeks, I've had to do some repairs to my car. Like, it's reaching 8 years old now. So, normal maintenance, like get the wheels redone, get the normal stuff. Like,
that's not where I thought you were going.
Oh, no, I'm not done yet. But, normal repairs and stuff. And on my way to the dealership to finally get my last repair that I needed, it was snowing out. And, the roads were okay. But, there's this thing where trucks will drop salt on the roads.
Oh, I hate the trucks that when it spins out the back and it just
like shoots all the salt all over the ground.
And the thing with the salt on those roads they're pretty big chunks of salt.
Yeah, they're not like, it's not like the very fine salt. It's like the coarse, like rocks.
And speaking of rocks, a nice big piece of rock salt decided to rebound from the car in front of me, shoot up, and hit my windshield.
It's like JFK's bullet.
Yeah. Definitely.
And usually it would just leave a little chip in the windshield. Not a crack, no nothing. But since it was so cold out and because of the weather, it decided to crack from left to right.
Yeah.
My windshield has a crack going from the bottom left up and around to the bottom right, and now it's growing in the other direction. And now I have to go to Safe Light Repair tomorrow to get it repaired, because they can't come to my house because they need to calibrate the windshield.
I got that jingle stuck in my head now.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
That's absolutely brutal, Raj. And this is after last week where we also talked about your car.
Yep.
Because
your car is really going through it right now.
And it's just stuff I'm not even doing. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's really
I feel
rough.
like with cars, when it rains, it pours. Like, everything just goes wrong.
Everything goes wrong at the same time. The second once the check engine light comes on, everything goes wrong.
Suddenly, you need an oil change. The tires need to be changed. You get a flat. Engine stops working. air conditioner craps out. It's
Ridiculous.
the whole 9
I
yards.
just want it to
Yeah.
end. I just want to drive my car.
Yeah.
I have 2, so then I'll go next. Well, then we'll do Peter, separate them. The
Yes.
first is Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh my
This is the only
God.
time I'm going to talk about basketball, but last night, as people hopefully know, Joel Embiid scored 70 points in a Sixers win. Great, love the guy. Great work, Joel. But at the same time, Karl Anthony Towns had scored 44 points in the first half of the Timberwolves game against the Hornets. And I was like, wow, there's only been, I think it's 9 right now, maybe 8 players who have ever scored 70 in NBA history. And I was like, Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid just did it on the same night. Because he's 44 points. Like, you figure, he's on pace for 88. He's at least get to 70, right? So he hits 58 at the end of the third quarter. The Timberwolves are up by 15 points against the Hornets at home. Karl Anthony Towns, in that quarter, which he's way on pace to get 70, scores a total of 4 points to get to 62, and they lose the game outright. So in a night where Karl Anthony Towns could have one up Joel Embiid by getting either more than 70, but even to 80, and at least win the game, he lost the game and scored 62 points. Because similar to how when Devin Booker scored 70, when you lose the game, it's kind of a bad look. You did all that just to lose the game.
Makes you look like a ball hog, like you're stat padding.
But when
you win,
when Devin Booker lost the game, they were at least playing the Celtics with Isaiah Thomas and that team that was gonna win the championship, which they didn't do because they ran into LeBron James, as they always do. But
is that 2018 LeBron?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
And so now I'm stuck on the year. But anyway, but Cat lost to the Hornets.
Yeah, it's not like he lost to a good team.
When he had 50, and he scored 4 points in the fourth quarter.
Isn't LaMelo hurt?
What?
Is LaMelo
Yes,
playing?
LaMelo's not playing.
Oh my God.
Or maybe he's back. But either way, the Hornets are not a good basketball team. They're playing
awful.
Mark Williams at center, who's a good prospect, but he's not the answer. And they have 2 centers, and the whole thing is just ridiculous because, again, he scored almost 15 points per quarter going into that, scores 4 points in the final quarter as they lose the basketball game.
Yeah, brutal.
It's not like they won the basketball game. He scored 4 points just because they doubled him and he passed out of a lot of stuff. So Karl Anthony Towns definitely disgruntled this week.
Yeah, definitely. So for my disgruntled moment of the week, it's the fact that I learned you could become lactose intolerant at 21 years old.
Amen.
I've been living
Amen.
my entire life, been able to eat every kind of cheese, drink all the milk I want, and I've been totally fine. But literally 2 weeks ago, my stomach started killing me, and I'm like, this is really weird because this has never happened to me in my life. And I've been thinking, I'm like just strangely in the back of my head, there's just something nagging at me. Am I lactose intolerant now? I take one thing of Lactaid, I'm fine. I'm so pissed.
It's brutal.
It's a choice. What is wrong with you guys?
Well, it is a choice. I just choose to then use Lactaid and eat the cheese anyway, which I am so frustrated with because I went basically 22 years of my entire life without needing to deal with this, and then now suddenly it's like, oh yeah, no more cheese for you. It's so annoying. God.
Yeah, because when I figured out I was lactose intolerant, it was freshman year. I had been home a whole entire life. Finally, get away for a little bit, whatever. I started doing protein powder because I was running a lot more mileage in my running journey, and I was like, I need to repair muscles quicker, or whatever. So I started doing protein. Would rip apart my stomach, and then I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just the protein powder the way. Then I started kind of trying to figure out what the answer was. I'd have ice cream at the dining hall, rips apart the stomach, rips it apart, and
our class is looking like Pablo Picasso.
Yep.
Dare I say a Jackson Pollock?
So that's how I figured out I was lactose intolerant. I do think it gets better though. I used to be more. I think sophomore year I was the most lactose intolerant. Now I can tolerate dairy in small doses, or it doesn't really noticeably bother me.
Yeah.
But yeah, still you can't
just bring a Lactaid with me everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean you just gotta stay.
It's
strapped.
not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna eat cheese.
I think there's I always explain to people there's levels to it.
Yeah.
Am I eating non-dairy ice cream without Lactaid, or even with Lactaid ever? Again, probably not really, unless it's a super unique opportunity. It's not worth the pain. I can get other non-dairy options, but cookies that have milk in them,
I'm pounding those.
Muffins, stuff, all that kind of small stuff. I'm eating them without Lactaid.
Am I having a plain burger without cheese?
No.
I'm not a psycho.
Yeah. But if people want to hear more about Justin's lactose intolerant,
Did you just look up the episode?
you can go check out episode 23, Lactose Intolerance is a Choice.
Oh my gosh.
One of our first
Jesus
episodes
Christ.
before we converted fully to sports. So,
Oh,
And
God.
another shameless plug.
Yeah, good Lord.
well, we had Ohio's Purgatory.
We've had some good plugs.
We have had some good plugs. Our
Yeah.
our old stuff is coming back. We're
It's
like
coming
Taylor
back
Swift.
up. Yeah. Oh, God. Don't bring her name into this. People are going to get mad.
I've seen enough.
All right, bro.
I'm gonna have to leave. And then my next disgruntled moment of the week, 'cause I had to have two, was the boys, and I'll explain.
Oh,
I'll
God.
explain what happened on Sunday. So we were all watching as a group. Us and some of our friends were watching the football games on Sunday.
God.
That being, and we put a squad ride down on the Bills and Chiefs
Which
game.
I
For folks
chose not
who
to
don't
ride.
know what a squad ride is. It's where each person who's betting,
Time out. Raj, you didn't decide not to ride this. You literally didn't put the bet in.
yeah, you forgot.
And I'm glad I did.
Anyway.
So there was 5 of us, and so each person picks a leg of a parlay. You combine it in. There's like 5 legs, and then usually you have good odds, and you sweat it out all game because that's
And then
what
you all bet the same thing, essentially. Yeah.
So we each put our legs in. I was Patrick Mahomes, and you usually don't put like crazy big bets because it makes it more unlikely to hit. So like I put Patrick Mahomes to go over 225 passing yards. Raj put Dalton Kincaid over 40 receiving yards. There was a James Cook 25 receiving yards. There was a
Josh Allen over on
Josh
rushing.
Allen over on
Was it
rushing,
Pacheco anytime?
and then Pacheco over 50 yard rushing.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
So that was it,
fast,
and we were 2,100 plus $2,150 something. So we each put $10 in. It was on a no sweat. By the way, we're all 21 and can bet. We put $10 in to win $200. Anyway, we are off to a first of all, there's 5 people who put their things in, including Raj. Raj forgot to bet it. So
Whatever.
there's 4 of us who have this going, and we are off to a great start.
Pacheco gets like 30 yards in the first drive.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, we're already off to a great start.
and Josh Allen gets his rushing yards at halftime. We are in fantastic shape. Then by the end, we're sweating out Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, and kind of Patrick Mahomes, though we're not too concerned about that. And then Dalton gets his on the final drive. We ended up needing Patrick Mahomes to get we didn't obviously hit the bet. We needed Patrick Mahomes to get 10 passing yards and James Cook to get 4 receiving yards. And we were that close from turning $10
Free $200.
into $200. And it was miserable because we were there the entire time.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the game. There were checkdowns to James Cook Josh Allen could have made that would have hit. And if the kicker doesn't miss the field goal at the end, if Bass doesn't miss that field goal,
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes has like a minute and a half to go.
They're
down.
passing the ball.
He's getting his 10 yards. We might be going to overtime, and James Cook, like, the way we didn't hit this parlay was miserable.
I'm sorry to say, it was so funny watching you guys sweat this bet because it was so close.
It was a nice spot to be because we weren't sweating the lack of money, the money we were going to lose.
Yeah,
Like
it was just how close.
because
it
we had a
was.
no sweat parlay on it, so like we get our money back for it. It was just the money we lost. The same situation happened to me when I bet the Phillies with a $75 free bet to win the World Series. Like, it wasn't about me losing
It's what you
75.
could win. Yeah.
It was because I didn't put any money into it as a free bet. It's the losing of multiple hundreds of dollars when like the whole house. We're taking a spring break trip to Nashville.
Yeah.
We would have just paid for the the Airbnb or like drinks at Nashville. Like
Yeah,
just,
it would have been open bars at Nashville.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
that would have
my
been
God.
ridiculous.
and we didn't hit it because Patrick Mahomes couldn't get 10 passing yards and James Cook couldn't get 4 receiving yards when the option was there. But
Unbelievable. We're not eating in Nashville now.
no
No
food. We're
No
starving.
food.
Thanks, Vegas. We're gonna starve.
God.
But yeah, that's the disgruntled moment of the week. All four of us are disgruntled.
Oh God.
I'm glad I forgot to bet it.
Surely we won't bet this week and then try to sweat
Certainly
on
we
another one.
haven't already made plans for another squad ride
Surely.
this
You
weekend.
should have listened to me when I said Khalil Shakir anytime touchdown.
Bro,
we
you
still
didn't even
would've-
place the bet.
We still would have lost the
It
bet.
doesn't matter. The
Patrick
odds would've
Mahomes
been
still
better.
threw 215 yards.
God, that's brutal.
Anyway, that was disgruntled moment of the week, as always, everyone's favorite segment. But now we're moving into actual football,
Yes.
where the Ravens beat the Texans 34-10 in the first game of the weekend. This game was 10-10 at half, and then the Texans just took over.
Nope. Ravens.
Ravens just took over, scored 24 points. Texans couldn't do anything.
I think that was something that I've actually been seeing going around recently is how underrated that stadium is when it comes to like home field advantage. because I think there was like 5 false start penalties on the Houston Texans or something like throughout the game. And it was just very clear that the Texans are just young and like inexperienced, and like they had reached their peak.
They won their Super Bowl last week.
They won their Super Bowl last week, I feel like they won their Super Bowl by keeping it tied going in half. Like they really proved it's like, look, this is a legit roster. They're just so
with
young.
a lot of rookies.
With a lot of rookies, they're just so young and so inexperienced because they're just like the lights are just a little too bright right now because it's like,
oh, that's an episode 2.
Oh God. Anyway, but yeah, it's like they're just too young for this because the Ravens have a very veteran roster. Like, I mean, hell, they picked up Dalvin Cook off the bench, or straight off the couch, and they just threw him in there, and he's like, oh yeah, let me just get my longest run of the year. Like, because I was averaging like 2 yards a carry with the Jets, and they throw him in there and he gets like 40 yards off of like 2 carries.
By the way,
sweet.
episode 8, after we transfer our name over, the lights are too bright, and Bryce Harper is him.
Okay.
Shameless plug counter number 2.
This is number 2. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to go into this game. I mean, it like CJ Stroud played good in the first half, and then the defense kind of just took over for the Ravens. It was just very clear because he didn't throw any interceptions, but they were getting pressure. Everybody was covered. Like they were really needed like Tank Dell to be there. It was just like, look, you gave it your best shot. The Ravens are just overall just better. Like there's not really much to say.
Yeah, going off of that, I mean, the Ravens at halftime, I was like, this is interesting. What is going on? And then the Ravens absolutely steamrolled them.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just a matter of like young team versus more experienced team. Probably better players at some positions.
Yeah.
So then it was that's just what happens.
I mean, the Ravens defense is significantly
just,
better than
they're better. Period.
Better than Texans defense. Ravens defense might be the best in the league.
Yeah.
Lamar 152 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is fully beating the playoff allegations of him being a bum in the playoffs.
Well, it's a little too early to tell. We'll see.
I was gonna say a little too early to tell. We'll get into the preview. Definitely benefited this game by the fact that the defense just held off the Texans.
Yeah,
completely. He almost threw an interception in the red zone at one point.
Yeah,
Lamar did, so that could have changed the game around a lot, but he didn't throw it, so doesn't matter. I think for the Ravens, well, I guess the question is, in the first half, was this more the Ravens kicking off the rust, or was this the Texans actually matching them for a half but just couldn't hold on? Like, where do you think that 10-10 comes from?
I think it's more of like before half, they probably were like, coach's game plan and stuff. So it was a close game at half. Maybe the Ravens were like still trying to find that answer, but then it also it's a combo of both probably. Cause then there's always so much.
Such a cop out answer.
Stop saying it's a combo of both. Pick a side.
There is no side to pick. It literally is both.
Obviously it's both, but you need to pick a side.
This. Oh my God. Whatever. The Texans just got tired out then.
Okay.
Whatever.
So you're saying it was that's like a fourth option.
So you're saying that
the Texans got tired on defense. He couldn't stop.
So you're saying the Ravens weren't kicking off rust in the first half.
It was that
the Texans were kind of beat up.
Their defense was holding them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the Texans playing up past their potential, and then they kind of fell off second half. I would say it was a little bit of the Ravens kicking off some rust because they really kind of needed to get in sync. I think in that first half, especially because the defense was like, they only gave up 10 points. Like that was fine.
And that's great.
But I think for the offenses, at least in recent years, are a lot more like timing based. It's a lot less of. I mean, you still have the exceptions like a Patrick Mahomes, who's like, or even like a Jordan Love now, where it's like they're kind of like off rhythm, off sync. It's like, okay, they're going to kind of make their own plays, whatever. But you look at like Miami, you look at the 49ers, you look at even Dallas at points. Like it's a lot of like rhythm offenses where it's like the ball needs to be put in a certain place because the receiver is going to be breaking at a certain time kind of thing. And when you are off for a week, or basically 2 weeks, or almost 3, really.
They hadn't played a football game in 3 weeks. That first week was because it was week 17 to week 18, which is traditional rest. But I mean, most of their guys hadn't played a legit football game in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So it was like, it's been a little bit, they needed to kind of get back into sync. And then they also were able to make some second half adjustments, I think. Cause like, I mean, in the first half, the Houston Texans were throwing everything and the kitchen sink at them. So then they were like, okay, well, we know everything in their pocket because they have to throw everything at us. Now we know what to do. All right, let's stay in sync. We know how to counter them. And then they just like took off from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of this was the Ravens. The Texans got worn out. They played a bona fide playoff game in Week 18 against the Colts. Then they came in and beat the Browns, who are a physical football team.
Yeah.
In Week 1 at home, I think they were on an emotional high. They come in, they're 10-10 at half, but you just you're playing way above your head at that point, and I think the Ravens just kind of took advantage of that.
Yep.
Lamar was running all over the place, and just because
they had no answer for Lamar.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's just because the running game is the game. Like when good teams are beating up on you, it's because the running game is going, and you're getting 10 yards on a rush. And Lamar had 10 carries for 100 yards, 10 yards a carry.
That's something that people are gonna chirp and say, well, he's not quarterbacky. Well, that's the thing, is that when you're really beating up a team in the playoffs, you use the run game for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's demoralizing too when Lamar,
because it's just the ground and pound, and especially if you have a quarterback running on you, because you have that now third option where it's okay, well, they can pass, hand it off, or run. And it's brutal for a defense, because it's these long, grueling drives of just getting worn down of 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, just down the field. Yeah, I mean, and that works that'll work in September, and that'll work in February. So, I mean, the Ravens just look really good.
Yeah, they do look really good. And yeah, I think for the Texans, I mean, kudos on a great
season. Yeah,
I mean, this season could not have gone perfect. Again, we talked about it before. They don't have their first round pick. So being this good
is actually decent. It's it's fine.
It's all a benefit. It's not oh, well, this team could have used a better draft pick or something. No, this is the best season they could have probably had.
This was probably their ceiling here. Yeah.
And they got a huge win at home. That home crowd got to experience a playoff win again. And they can at least go out and be hey, we did some nice things in the first half against the Ravens, who may win the Super Bowl. So you lose to the Super Bowl champions, you're not feeling too bad about yourself.
No, you're really not.
Next game, 49ers beat the Packers 24-21 in a game that was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
It was, unfortunately, it was a Jordan Love legacy game kind of in the wrong way at the end there.
Brett Favre, is that you?
Yeah, he got possessed by Brett on that one. Mr. What is it, welfare? Anyway, allegedly. Anyway.
We're going to get sued.
Oh, God. But, yeah, I mean, that was...
No, because Pat McAfee avoided the allegations.
Allegedly. So, anyway, that game was a much better game than we were thinking. Because I mean, I said it was either going to be Jordan Love legacy game or a beat down by the 49ers.
Yeah, and I was on top of Niners minus 9.5. I thought they would blow the doors off the Packers.
Yeah, but it turns out Joe Barry defense came to play. Shockingly, that was not something I was expecting. Twice,
I mean, they did, because the defense did good enough against the Cowboys when it mattered.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, there was in this last game, there was some dropped picks. I think Darnell Savage, had a pick six that he dropped.
There was a pick six with Savage, and there was another interception. I put that in the notes.
Dropped.
Brock Purdy threw essentially 2 interceptions that were
both dropped.
Not it would have been a hard catch, just in their arms.
Yeah.
Just dropped picks,
which of course doesn't really matter because neither of them were picked. But whatever. The defense played a lot better. Offense, the run game really kind of punched them in the mouth. Aaron Jones, I think he was almost
over 100 yards.
Did he have 100 yards? Okay, yeah. So he was he's the first player in a while then to have 100 yards rushing on him. But it was
the first in, it was 20 some odd games.
It was long
ridiculous.
Time. Yeah, but that was not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting that the interior of the 49ers defense was going to be so soft.
Chase Young did not look good.
No, he was kind of getting smoked. Bosa was kind of non-existent throughout the game. I mean, obviously Fred Warner and Javon Hargrave are absolute monsters. They were all over the place. They're definitely missing Hufanga as a safety.
100%. I was thinking the same thing. Where
they were really missing him.
I think that injury is coming up to hurt them a little bit right now
because he's such a good run stopper and he's great in coverage too. That's a big thing that's been hurting them. I mean, overall, this was an amazing game of the Packers. Obviously came down to a Carlson missed kick, but again, as much as people love to blame the kicker for missing, and it's kind of funny to bag on him, whatever, it should never have to come down to that point. There was definitely moments in that game where the Packers made some bad decisions or whatever that they could have then put more points on the board. But it was just, I mean, it sucks for the Packers because you're right there. You were about to beat the curse. Jordan Love just kind of makes a bonehead decision at the end there, which I mean, he's young. It's nowhere near as bad as the Brett Favre one, considering Brett Favre was in his late 30s and is a vet versus basically a first-year starter going out there making that bad throw. So, I mean, the Packers, very similar to the Texans, huge, bright future ahead of you. Just shore up some people at certain positions. I still think Joe Barry needs to go personally, although the whole question is, can you find a better coordinator? If you want to take Wink Martindale, go for it. Just don't let him go to the Eagles, for the love of God.
Please.
But
please.
Yeah, I mean, 49ers didn't look great, not gonna lie.
Yeah, they didn't look good. Only on your note of the kicker, and we'll talk about it again in the Bills game, but there was a 41-yard field goal in the rain.
Yeah.
And like those, I think people had to stop viewing them as gimmies.
Yeah.
Because this actually happens a lot more than people think. It's just because a lot more people are watching during the playoffs. A missed field goal doesn't feel as big of a deal during the regular season. And you're not kicking. So like whenever like you have one goal, like the pressure matters a lot in that.
Yeah.
You have one job to get it through those goalposts. Everything is riding on it. Like it's tough.
I mean, my favorite comments are the ones on Instagram of like people saying like, "Oh, I could get paid $100,000 to miss a kick too."
Yeah, and it's like, dude, like you forget about all of the other ones that you had to make.
Yep.
Like the entire year.
And this would have gotten the game to be 24-24 in all likelihood. We'd still see if Jordan Love could do something at the end of the game to get him in the field goal range.
Yeah.
Because he threw the interception at their own 36, so they weren't in field goal range with 52 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like time expired, he missed a 41-yard field goal. There was still stuff afterwards that happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Packers' inability to stop the 49ers on the game-winning drive.
Exactly.
They had 12 plays for 70 yards. Took them 5 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yeah,
and,
burn time off the clock. Like,
yep, they got the ball with 6 minutes left in the game, and they didn't get the ball back until 1 minute. So when you look at that, it's at the end of the game when it mattered most. Your defense didn't hold strong because you were winning the game still.
Yeah,
obviously would have made it a lot harder for San Francisco and more pressure mounted on them, but their defense had a job. They didn't do it at the end of the game.
And for as much as like we kind of were chirping Brock Purdy a little bit, that last drive was very, very good.
Yeah, he looked good.
He made some great throws. I think he literally got in sync with his team on that last drive because he kind of seemed a little out of sync there. And of course, possibly because of the rain, whatever. But of course, he said himself in the post-game interview, it's like, it's football. You got to be better than that.
Yep.
So I think he's not trying to use that as an excuse at all. I think that's just literally the reason why.
Yeah, he did a good job responding. Like two things can be true at the same time. Brock, small hands, doesn't play with gloves usually.
He has the same size hands as Patrick Mahomes.
I know, but he has small hands.
Does he actually?
Yes, he has objectively.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, part of the scouting report with him coming out was like small hands. But
I
again,
hate that
a
thing.
lot of players have small hands, so I'm not saying, but like small hands, doesn't like playing the game. He started with a glove on. At one play, he wiped the towel on the back of his.
Yeah, because his hand was so slick. Yeah,
yeah, and that, I mean, you got to play better in those elements. But two things can be true at the same time: that he did struggle probably more because it was raining.
Yeah, but he also
he
does
has
need
to be better.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, I thought was so impactful, and he only had 94 yards. It felt like he had like 200.
He had the yards that he did have were at the exact right times. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's kind of been gnawing at me a little bit is that the 49ers offensive line is
not playing good.
So they're really, really good in the run game at times. At other times, they're kind of average. And then in the pass game, they let up a decent amount of pressure on Brock Purdy, which is kind of strange to say. And obviously Trent Williams is lockdown, but it's the rest of that line is just a little bit shaky at certain points, which is like strange because it's like you always know the 49ers as like they are the team with the great offensive line. So to see them kind of struggle a little bit was odd.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. Yeah. I didn't think they looked at. I thought Brock Purdy was getting pressured a lot. Brock Purdy was getting pressured a lot, forcing some throws. Yeah. Usually when he has a little bit more time in the pocket.
Yep.
Raj, thoughts on the 49ers getting the win?
I can't believe I had to see them win.
Buddy, you got to talk to your mic.
Oh. Yeah, I can't believe I had to see them win again. That was annoying. I mean, it was like towards the end, I will admit that was a really good drive by Brock Purdy. I wish Jalen could do that. I really wish he could. But still, it was a great
just a dig.
Yeah, just backing on him.
But it was a great drive by Purdy. CMC, yeah, he had a huge impact.
Yeah,
even though like I felt like he was getting stuffed at some point in the game, but like still, those were hard fought yards.
Yeah, White Jesus was out there.
Yeah, he was going crazy. I mean, we knew this was happening every season. It's the annual Packers beat down the Cowboys, and then the Niners beat down the Packers.
Yeah.
We see this
Yeah.
happen every year.
Fortunately, it wasn't as much of a beatdown.
No,
as,
so much closer.
You know,
I thought.
well, not beat down, but
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
Well, that was
the
even
annual win.
what 2 years ago with, or no, was it last year with Rodgers, where it was like
Not 2 years
it
ago.
was
like
years ago.
13-3 or
Rodgers
something
hurt,
like that.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was the field goal in the end of the game
Yeah.
that won them. But
Yeah.
still, Debo, hopefully you're back. So you lose in the NFC Championship
He's
game.
apparently 50-50. We'll get into that in a
Yeah.
little bit too.
Shoulder injury.
I was saying to everyone when we were hanging out on Sunday, all our friends, I'm very glad the 49ers won because I could not stand to hear 49ers fans say the reason they lost was because they didn't have Debo. Because while that may have been true, injuries are part of the game. Like you get last year. You complained about it all year. It was so obnoxious. They were like, we would have won the Super Bowl. But like, yeah, your quarterback went down, your backup quarterback went down, and then your third string quarterback was out at one point, and they were giving the headset to Christian McCaffrey to run Wildcat the rest of the game. Like, it was a bad situation. But this game specifically, you have to be able to win against the 7 seed with Debo out.
Yeah.
Like your whole stick is that we pay the quarterback nothing
So we can pay the
so we can
weapons.
pay the rest of the team because we have all pros at every position.
Yep.
And of course, like I think the Hufanga injury is not being talked about enough. People almost pretend like they don't have him injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think specifically Debo needs to be healthy for the next game.
Mhm.
They need him back just because
They just need that other dynamic receiver.
because Brock Purdy himself is not dynamic enough, and I don't think Brock played a horrible game.
no, he
all
didn't
things
play a horrible
considered,
game by any means.
I mean, it would have been bad if those 2 interceptions happened, but they didn't happen.
Definitely, yeah.
And when you evaluate QB play, you can say he didn't play good because he almost had those interceptions. But at the end of the day, he didn't play a horrible game. But this is what Brock Purdy is. He's a lot better in the regular season. He's probably not as impactful during the postseason and needs more things to go his way. And people are scheming against him a little bit more in the postseason. You have more time to think about it, more focus. So,
And something else, I didn't mean to cut you off
no,
there.
go ahead.
But again, very similar, I think, to the Ravens. They're a very like synchronized offense that's all about timing. So I think there definitely was some rust they were shaking off towards the beginning there. And honestly, I think just the Joe Barry defense was just playing out of their mind. Like that defense, they were playing out of their mind, like just like a possessed in that first.
Yeah, and Jair Alexander is really good.
Yeah.
As a cornerback, and then you get to put him on Ayuk versus
and
having him on
You got
Debo.
Jair out
Exactly.
there like just headbutting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jair really tried to flex over George Kittle after
No.
he had like he had like a 40-yard gain, and
Yep.
then George Kittle like lowers his shoulder, and then Jair's like standing over him. It's like, bro, like, what are you doing?
I feel like Jair isn't even out there to win. He's just out there to cause chaos and go home.
honestly, I don't blame him. That's funny.
Yeah, but when you're a cornerback, like it's one of the harder positions to play in football. I think it might be the hardest, and
Yeah.
you better talk when you're doing good because
Yeah.
I mean you don't get many of them. Like you've lined up
true.
against those guys all day and lock them down. So we'll see. I think next game for Purdy is very important to see kind of like
Mhm.
what is he in the
What's he
postseason?
made of?
Because last year we got him once against the Cowboys. No, we got him 2 games.
Cowboys and Eagles.
It was
No,
Seahawks Cowboys
Seahawks, yep.
like first quarter of the Eagles
And they
game.
blew out the Cowboys. I forget what happened in the Seahawks.
Seahawks
game.
Seahawks was a
close.
little bit close, but it was like
They
fourth
pulled
quarter.
away at
They,
the end.
yeah, they
But that
pulled away,
Seahawks
yeah.
team was also like playing out their minds
Way
per their
above
roster
their-
talent.
yeah,
So and the one game like really felt like a test against the Eagles. He tore his UCL like
So
10
like-
seconds into the game.
Yeah, so it was like completely irrelevant.
Yep.
then at that
So
point.
this is another game, not horrible. Next game's going to be massive for him. Like, can he take this roster?
to the Super Bowl.
to the
Can
Super
his
Bowl.
O-line protect him from Aiden Hutchinson on the left side?
Literally.
And we'll get into that. Speaking of Aiden Hutchinson, Lions beat the Bucks 31-23. I thought this was a great football game.
It was fun.
It was good to watch.
The game was tied going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they were able to separate a little bit more. Lions scored 14 in that quarter, and the Bucks scored 6 when they went for the 2-point conversion.
Good for you, Detroit.
Yep.
Keep it up.
We got vintage Baker May turn it over.
Yeah. I'm really happy. I mean, I think a lot of people are. I'm really happy for Detroit. You really can see how much it like means to them.
Yeah.
Especially like Dan Campbell and
Oh my God. It means so much to like not only the city of Detroit, but just Michigan as a whole.
Yeah.
Because like, University of Michigan wins the national championship. Pistons are awful.
They
But-
sacrificed the Pistons for
They
this.
sacrificed. They threw the Pistons into the pit to get their football teams to be good. But yeah, it really is like you see how much they care, And like obviously you have like some of these younger fans that are like, oh, it's my first Lions game, and it's like they're winning playoff games. And everyone's like, shut up! I've been through this team for 60 years. But
I mean, yeah, because I mean, there a lot of stuff has been out about this, but they went 0-16.
Yeah,
in
like,
in the 2000s,
like
era.
not that long ago.
Yeah,
like all things considered,
like 24 years ago, within this last 24-year period, they had Dan Orlovsky running out the end zone,
running out the back of the end zone
while they're going 0-16,
and then now they're going to the NFC Championship game. Like that's crazy.
Jared Goff has led 2 different teams to an NFC Championship game, and Dak has not done any of that.
So
yes.
I was going to talk about this. Jared Goff, 30 of 43, 287, 2 touchdowns, doesn't make any mistakes really. People like when we do quarterback rankings at the end of the year, you're looking at him top 8.
Yeah.
Like what people right now are playing better, more consistent than Jared Goff?
He is, and I don't say this as an insult. Let me just hear me out.
Yep.
He is the perfect game manager.
Yeah.
I
Where
agree.
people say game manager is a knock all the time, and it's so unbelievably stupid.
Brock Purdy is a game manager.
Shut up.
Bring on the hate comments. I want the smoke.
And Jalen Hurts can't manage a Wendy's.
You're right. He can't. That's okay. Bring on
But-
smoke.
Okay, so because Jared Goff is just like, he's not going to be a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen where he's throwing for 300 plus yards, 4 touchdowns, whatever, and possibly having some picks. He is just going to go out there and run the offense to the best of its ability, get 200 something ish yards, like again, 2 touchdowns. Like that's an exact stat line that I would predict from him. Just running the offense and winning the game and not letting the other team get any chance to get back in.
Yeah, and Goff was playing a little bit worse in the middle of the year. There's a game he had 3 picks during
Yep.
and 2 picks.
Yep.
He's able to come out of that, and that's what when you're at home playing a team that you're better than, that's what you need to do. And Baker Mayfield, 1 interception was at the end of the game, kind of garbage time, just trying to make a play, but
yeah,
he has a big interception in the middle of the game.
that was big. That was huge.
And that's what Jared Goff didn't do, and that's why the
Yep.
Lions won the football game.
Yep.
It's imperative not to turn the ball over
Yeah.
in the postseason. Jordan Love had 2. We didn't even really talk about his pick, but he had 2 interceptions in that football
Yeah.
game. One of them, especially at the end, was a crazy throw that was unnecessary.
Mhm. And the
And-
other one was like a tipped pass
Yeah,
or
the
something.
Yeah.
first one I wouldn't call it
But
fault.
it's not his fault, but it's still impactful.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
very.
And so when you don't turn the ball over, when you don't put the ball in harm's way,
Exactly.
you
win
can stay
games.
in the game, and he kept the Lions in the game, and that's why they ultimately won.
Exactly. And then not necessarily to even like blame Baker for that, because like
No,
if you're like a 7 seed, you got to risk it. Like even at the end of that half where they were just lobbing it down to Chris Evans or
Mike
Chris
Evans.
Evans.
And
And
Bucks
they're
were
the
4
4
seed.
seed.
Yes.
Um,
Oh right, Bucks were
Yeah.
the 4 seed. Forgot about
you wouldn't
that.
believe it, but
They basically might as well be the 7 seed. That division was awful.
And yeah, I mean, Baker, 349 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, for him, he made himself so much money this season.
Oh my god.
Like, this is a guy that no one wanted, and the Bucks pretty much just brought him because they were trying to bridge the Tom Brady gap,
Yeah.
and they didn't know what to do. Kyle Trask clearly isn't the guy,
Right.
and they're just trying to figure out what to do. And
Teams are going to be fighting for him.
oh yes,
Vikings
Or
are
he
already
might
saying
just-
they're
I
in
mean,
on it.
Brock
Or he might
Purdy.
stay.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy has to be a top 15 quarterback right now, from what you've seen.
Oh, you mean Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield, yeah, sorry,
I was like, what?
I'm all over the place. Yeah, Baker Mayfield
Yes.
has to be a top 15 quarterback at this
Oh
point.
yeah, he's got like because he's a quarterback that can lead you to the playoffs
I think he could probably lead you to a Super Bowl in a Brock Purdy,
in the right
in
situation.
a Brock Purdy type of situation.
in the right situation, he could lead you to the Super Bowl. I
Man, the
think.
Browns must be hating their lives right now.
Yep.
Sold their soul for Massage Watson to see Baker win 2 playoff games.
Yeah, and
Yep,
watch.
One of them was for the Browns.
Yeah,
One of the lessons we're going to have through this whole postseason, which I feel like happens every year, is if you get the quarterback right, that's like pretty much determines your success as a franchise
Mhm.
for years to come. And
Mhm.
you can see it right here, even with the 49ers. They have a great team. The quarterback's been playing great in the regular season.
Yep.
They make it far. Jared Goff's been playing good. Baker Mayfield has been playing great all year, and he gets the team to the playoffs. And of course, on the AFC side of things, we have great quarterbacks. So,
Yeah.
and the reason the Browns lost, and they had Joe Flacco playing quarterback.
And Flacco's insanity run ended.
Yep. Mike Evans was fantastic in this game.
They need to resign him.
they
They can't let him go. Do
don't
not
let him go to the Chiefs. Don't let him
Please
go to
do
the
not.
Chiefs.
Everyone's concerned.
Don't let him go there. The league would be over.
Yeah. And another credit to Baker Mayfield. He got sacked 4 times. He took some hits.
Yeah.
He
Aiden
is.
Hutchinson was unblocked multiple times coming for him.
He's going to cement himself as like a Stafford tough guy. Like,
Yeah.
well, not on the same level as Stafford's ridiculous. That dude was completely knocked out this last week and was still playing. But Baker is like, he's got a swagger to him, man. Like,
Yeah.
he takes those hits.
Tampa
he keeps
Baker.
Tampa Baker. It's something in the water in Tampa Bay. I don't know what's going on.
crack.
We talked about it really early on, but this arc for Baker has been
I
so
love
it
it.
kind of comes in arrogant, planting the flag, the OU flag in college, and first overall pick. Kind of got this attitude towards him. Backwards hat. Colin Cowherd's doing his backwards hat
Oh
thing.
my God. Colin Cowherd needs to get sent to the moon.
And everything like that. Kind of bounces around a little bit. Goes to the Rams last year.
Wins them that crazy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, wins them
Barely
that.
know the playbook.
Yup. And then gets an opportunity in Tampa. And there are going to be a lot of people who are like, hey, our roster might be
snag
good
it,
enough
yeah.
with a game manager. Can we get a good
Why not
offense going with
Why
him?
not? Let's go get Baker. Yeah.
Yeah. So great for Baker Mayfield. Way to hang in there on those hits. I thought it was also just really cool. Aiden Hutchinson went to school at Michigan.
Yeah.
And now he's playing for the Detroit Lions.
It's a perfect
gets
story.
them to the NFC
I
Championship
think
game.
they're a team of destiny right now.
Yeah. And we'll get into that prediction in a little bit.
Yeah.
I really hope the Lions destroy the 49ers, please.
They're not going to destroy them.
I want them to.
Next game, another all-time classic between the Chiefs and the Bills. The Chiefs
Oh
win
my
Oh,
God.
do you mean
27
the,
to 24.
the Bills are just the Packers of the AFC? Let's be real.
Oh my God. Oh no.
And the Chiefs are the 49ers of the AFC.
Well, the
We've seen this-
49ers also haven't really won anything recently.
I just mean it in like the
Oh, just
matchup
like that's
comparison.
the comparison. I see.
We see this every year.
Yeah.
But somehow, everybody thought this year would be the year.
Well,
And
they
I-
were a kick
And I'm
away.
going to gloat
That's
because I
because-
sat here and
Hold
said,
Oh, wow.
I
You
sat
said
here-
10 and a half.
Yeah, you thought the Bills were going to get murdered.
oh, but we'll get into that in a second.
Here we
But
go.
everyone sat, it wasn't just you two. It was
Well, yeah.
everybody, like collectively across the media, the betting lines, everybody. It's the Bills. Like the Chiefs just don't have the offense this year. They're going to have to go the first time in the playoffs on the road. They're going to go into Buffalo. They don't want to play there. Josh Allen's better than Mahomes this year.
They're
All
letting
of
Taylor
that.
Swift like pictures on fire.
Yeah,
Like-
all of this crap just for the Chiefs to beat the Bills. And I'm sorry, it wasn't as close as you thought because the Chiefs did everything possible to lose that game, and they still beat the Bills.
yeah.
The Chiefs fumbled the ball on
Yeah.
first and goal from the 1 yard line.
Nicole Hardman.
Cole Hardman through the end zone, and the Chiefs still won. The Chiefs tried to scoop the fumble from Josh Allen instead of just falling on top of it,
Yeah.
and then
Well, there was 2 fumbles that they didn't recover.
yes, but like the other one was like at least reasonable.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs could have easily gotten that fumble, and they just didn't. They tried to scoop it instead of falling on top of it, and then Dalton Kincaid was able to hit it out of bounds and everything like that.
Also, raise you. The Bills also did try to lose when they tried to give Damar Hamlin the ball on
Bro,
a big
Sean
run.
McDermott thought this was like a Disney original movie.
What are you doing?
He thought DeMar was like this main character, and they were just gonna let him walk through that.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
no.
I'm gonna be honest.
Whatever.
Sean McDermott there. I feel like you gotta have a little bit better like self awareness and be like, if this doesn't convert, I know you're in the football game, but this doesn't convert. This looks like we just tried to give Damar like his moment.
Like, dude,
That's what they did.
that's literally what they did. What crack were you smoking that you thought a fake punt when the Chiefs are rushing everybody trying to block it is a good idea?
Yeah,
Just get Josh Allen in there and have him try to throw the ball
Yeah.
or run it like 3 yards.
Or here's a crazy idea: punt the football.
Yeah, good lord.
so I'll give you that. Sean McDermott gave the Chiefs a little bit of help with
Yes.
that, but
But then they also fumbled it through
Well,
the end zone, so those
so
cancel out.
Diggs also hates the Bills now. He just doesn't want to catch the
Dude,
ball.
oh my god. That was Josh Allen threw the prettiest ball I have ever seen in my
you
life.
can't throw a much better ball than that.
He was on his own. Like, can you pull up the clip of it?
Yeah.
He was on his, it seemed like he was on his own like 30 or something. He puts it on the opposite 20.
Oh, it's a top search. What
It's
would you know?
100. It looks like it's 100 yards in the air. Like, no joke. It is the prettiest moon ball you've ever seen in your life, and it goes right through Diggs' hands.
Here we
Yep.
go.
Like,
Yep,
I
they're
mean-
at.
oh, sorry,
Allen is at his. He's dropped back at the
he
10.
he threw it from his own 11 and put it on the opposite
30, 28.
the opposite 28, and he threw that thing 100 yards in the air, and Diggs just drops the ball.
Yeah, it's it was a bad drop. I mean, granted, anytime the ball's in the air that long, it makes the catch a lot more difficult. So I don't think this is like a easy catch for Diggs, but he's also
it's Diggs.
It's all, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's also Stephon Diggs.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. See ya.
So yeah, my gloating is just that people really thought the Bills were going to win when there was no evidence to suggest that they were going to win. And then,
well, the evidence was the pit, the fact that Sean McDermott has been undefeated since he came out as being a member of Al-Qaeda. There's just a lot of things that I thought, you know what, maybe it's fate. But again,
or you could have been like Patrick Mahomes is 2-0 against the Bills.
Never bet against Mahomes.
He plays better on the road statistically than he does at home. He's the best playoff performer at a quarterback that we've ever seen.
Okay, I don't like real statistics. I like the fake ones about Al-Qaeda and the pit.
Also, the fact that they were chirping Taylor Swift and then Travis Kelce has like one of his best games in the past like however many years.
Just a thought.
Statistics aren't real. I fully believe in the moon facing, and that's why the Lions lost that game. I fully believe in the sacrificial pit.
The pit. Also, for anybody that doesn't know, Bills fans sacrifice their own fans into the pit.
A giant pit that they're building for their new stadium because why not?
Apparently it worked before.
But Patrick Mahomes has finally ended the Bills' jihad against the AFC.
Shut up.
I think there's a lot to take away from this game. I know the stats gotten popular out there. The Bills need to figure out what they're doing with Josh Allen because
you keep Allen. Redo the coaching
not about keeping him.
No,
but about
he's
how
not
you
the
manage
issue.
him.
It's how you manage it.
Because there's a stat that came out that he threw like all of his passes behind the line of scrimmage and threw the ball more than like 10 yards like 4 times. And granted, he didn't have any interceptions. He had pretty much fumbled the ball like away, but it got recovered by his own team. So if you look at his line, 26 of 39, 186, 1 touchdown. You don't see any mistakes there, but they completely limited what he was able to do. He had the outstanding throw to Shakir.
Yeah,
for the touchdown.
Amazing throw.
He had a dart to Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
That was dropped. Other than that, there weren't these like big plays. He had a few deeper passes to Kincaid, but there weren't these huge plays. He was constantly throwing behind the line of scrimmage. It's because Joe Brady, offensive coordinator, interim offensive coordinator, doesn't trust him. They're afraid of his turnovers.
Yeah,
which I understand why. But when you go up against that guy and Patrick Mahomes on the other side, where they punted the ball 0 times all game, or
I think they punted it once.
Yeah, where they punted the ball once all game, and you're not throwing the ball downfield. You put yourself in a position where you're relying on Tyler Bass to make a field goal to tie the game in the cold, 44 yards, and he misses it.
I was waiting for like a bit. I don't even know if Gabe Davis was like hurt or whatever, but I was waiting
he
for
was
like,
out.
He wasn't playing.
I was still waiting for like that one big deep shot to like one of their like
to Gabe Davis. They were really missing him.
Yep.
Like, I think besides Gabe Davis, I mean Shaky, all their other like
they should have been able to step up. Yeah.
I was waiting for that one deep shot. I'm like, yo, where the hell is it?
But then it was to Diggs, and he dropped it.
Of course, your wide out one just goes.
Yeah, because he was like trying to catch it like over his shoulder, which again, it's a hard catch. I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch of the imagination, but when you're Stephon Diggs and you're like arguably a top 5 receiver in the league, you gotta make that.
And you have that picture of you standing and watching the Chiefs winning. You gotta live up to that picture, man. You've been staying there for 3 years doing nothing.
If we're looking at like Josh Allen considered a top 5 quarterback, Stephon Diggs could be a top 5 receiver. Your top 5 quarterback got the ball to you perfectly. You have to hold up your end of the bargain. Yeah. But this is also Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen haven't been on the same page for months.
It's been odd.
So, like, I'm not expecting Shaky dropped it. They haven't been connecting in game for a while now. Patrick Mahomes, a very different game than we're used to seeing in the playoffs. Only throws the ball 23 times, complete 17, 215.
Damn you.
2 touchdowns. More of a game manager, Patrick Mahomes, than we're used to seeing.
He was giving it to Pacheco more.
But this is what the Chiefs have done a great job, and we've talked about it, reinventing
to the run game,
reinventing their team, like zigging while other people are zagging, and they don't have the receiving group right now. They have a great running back. Hand it off to him, rely on the offensive lineman, and Patrick Mahomes just makes timely plays. The big play to 2 big plays to MVS.
MVS, you know what? Also, side note, good for you, MVS. Great. Those were awesome catches. Amazing throws by Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry about the glazing, but it's true. But good for you, MVS, because I know a lot of the narratives this year is that Chiefs receivers were awful. Like, so bad.
Well,
but he made there was the one over his shoulder where it was
that was really good.
He palmed that thing with one hand and brought it in, and there was that other one across the middle where he ate a shot from Jordan Poyer.
He had a guy on him and then safety underneath.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes sits it in a tight window. He's probably distracted a little bit by a guy trying to come in front of him. And he just kind of pins it against his gut and just goes down with the ball.
Good for you. Good for you. Great catches.
And this is what I was going to mention with the media narrative, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the media panicked about the Chiefs receivers. The Chiefs themselves, Patrick Mahomes, never panicked.
No.
Patrick Mahomes never said a bad word about those receivers all year.
He did freak out that one time with the refs, which was definitely him freaking out on his receivers instead.
But Kadarius Toney.
He never said at a press conference.
True. He never publicly went out and was just bagging on his receivers.
Which you wouldn't expect, but people do that. And I felt like the Chiefs all year didn't press. They didn't panic when their offense wasn't right. They didn't panic when their receivers were playing less than ideal. Everybody else did. And then everyone kind of got caught up in the Buffalo Bills hype, and then Kansas City just goes in and wins the football game.
And
so
obviously we did kind of skip over, but Tyler Bass misses the kick at the end there to tie up the game. Again, you should never be in a situation that if you are sending death, first of all, if you're sending death threats to anybody, seek therapy.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
It's just a game.
It's never that deep.
Especially
but anyway, because as a team, you should never be in the situation where you have to rely on your kicker to win a game for you. You should be able to win a game beforehand.
You hear that, Eagles?
Now, when it does come down to that moment, having a great kicker obviously is incredible in those moments. But let's not forget, it was in Buffalo.
Yep.
That's their entire shtick, is that it's hard to play there. It's hard to kick.
It's been snowing for days, as evident by the fact that they can't get the snow off the field unless they employ Bills fans.
Exactly.
It's 44 yards, which is not a chip shot by any means.
That's not a chip shot. And also, if you see it leave his foot, it's going in, and then the wind just pulls it. It was going straight and then just hooks.
And we can talk about the plays that happened afterwards, right? It's 2nd and 9. The 2-minute warning just happened. Josh Allen has a terrible pass to Shakira in the end zone that hits the ground. It's not even a ball he can catch.
That was because Chris Jones was pushing the left tackle directly
but he
into
had
him.
An underneath route too.
He did so that was the issue.
So he has an underneath he doesn't throw to. Incomplete pass. It's 3rd and 9. Clock stopped.
Yeah.
When they're trying to kill time. Then he throws it bad, not a great ball. He kind of throws it away to the deep right area on 3rd and 9.
He just had to roll it out. Yeah,
and there was someone underneath again. It was Diggs, who could have gone for 8+ yards, got the first down, gotten closer to field goal range.
And burned time.
Yeah, burns time. He gets the ball out of bounds. So then you're kicking with 1:47. The Chiefs have 2 timeouts. So even Bills fans, if you kick it, you're giving Patrick Mahomes, who scored a field goal on you with 13 seconds, 1 minute and 47 seconds with 2 timeouts. So maybe the game goes to overtime. Maybe the Chiefs go down and score a touchdown. Maybe they go score down a field goal. But this idea that you would have won the game
if
had Tyler Bass made the field goal, it would have been a tied game, and you're giving the best quarterback ever in terms of talent, in my opinion, 1 minute and 47 seconds, 2 timeouts to go down on your field. Again, when they haven't punted the ball, they've only punted the ball once the entire game.
Yeah. And also Harrison Butker was kicking piss missiles in that weather.
Because Butker's been great his entire career.
Yeah, he is ice cold in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That dude was hitting bombs.
Because the Chiefs realistically put up 34 points worth of offense out there with the fumble by McColl. So I don't have hope that Buffalo would have stopped them. And I only say that just because you don't look at that situation where you go, oh, the Bills managed the end of the game well. Josh Allen sold at the end of the game when he had the opportunity to waste time, get Bass closer, and everything like that. And they put themselves in a bad position. The Chiefs' margin for error was a lot bigger, as evident by their mistakes, and the Bills didn't. And that's because the Chiefs are a championship team and the Bills aren't. So
I think Josh Allen needs to take a step back and realize he doesn't have to play hero ball the whole game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what they did.
Yep.
With the whole game plan of throwing behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And it was James Cook has been a lot more active this year. It's at the end of the game when it mattered most,
they put the ball in Josh Allen's hands.
They said, do it, Josh, and he didn't take his underneath routes, and he shot to the end zone. And honestly, I think it's because he knew that a field goal wouldn't win the game. I think he
knew that too. And They were still playing scared.
They played scared with a fake punt.
Yep.
You fake punt on your own 35, 40 yard line.
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter or at the end of the third or whatever it was, like that's desperate because you can't stop that team.
Yep.
You know they're going to score on you.
That's bad.
And when you see that, that's why I laughed because I was confident with the Chiefs, and I'm like, the Bills weren't confident they were going to win that game. The Bills didn't play like a team who thought they could win that football game.
They played like the underdog.
They played like the Packers were playing the 49ers.
Yeah.
Where they had to pull everything out, do all the stops
Yep.
to win the football game.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll talk about what the Bills should do in the offseason in future episodes. But for now, we're going to focus on Conference Championship Weekend, which
also, side note, shout out to everybody that donated to Tyler Bass's charity.
That was awesome.
That was
cool
good.
Cats.
That was good. Yeah, save the cats.
Bills Mafia is really great. And
they are great. They did some very small minority of them sent death threats to them.
The extremist.
Those are the extremists. Those are the people that have been there for a while that watched them lose 4 Super Bowls. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I get it.
Was going to mention Jason Kelce.
Oh my God! How did we not talk about this?
Oh my God!
Time of his life,
dude.
So funny. There was a point where you could see Taylor Swift's security just being like, he just opened the glass to like,
they're like, whoa.
The most popular celebrity in the United States, maybe in the world.
Yeah,
the glass is just open because Jason Kelce's picking up a baby to wave at Taylor.
Yeah, because you could see they were trying to like hold him back at first, and then they were like, wait, why are we trying to stop him? Like, who's gonna try to jump up here? Like. But yeah, that was, I mean, Jason Kelce was slamming beers and taking shots out of bowling balls in the Bills tailgates before the game. He was no less than a full case deep, probably.
Also, you mentioned the Bills tailgate. This is why people should not be sending death threats. And it's a big, like, Jason Kelce's brother is playing against the Bills, who the Bills and Chiefs kind of have a nasty rivalry going back.
It's a little bit, yeah.
He's a NFL player for a different team. He's at the Bills tailgate.
He's an NFL player for one of the most hated teams in the league.
Yep. And he's just hanging out with fans, jumping into the crowd. Like, he's got no problem with Bills Mafia. He said on his podcast he loves all their antics and whatnot. And then you for your own team, you're sending death threats to your player.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this guy is like partying with your fans.
Yeah.
When he has no reason to like them. Like that's just like puts everything in perspective.
Like, they're people. Like, can we calm down?
Yep.
Like, my God.
Or to quote Jacob, it just means more.
It just means more, bro. You don't get it. The SEC is so much better, bro. We pay our players before we could, bro. Sorry.
Anyway, Conference Championship Weekend. It's sad. We only have 2 football games to watch this weekend. Only 2 games to bet on. But
there's only 3 games left of the season.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. What else are we going to talk about?
God, not baseball.
Opening day is only 2 months around the corner.
I've been waiting for Phils to start again. I just want to feel something.
Good Lord.
It's okay. The Sixers are maybe back.
So back. Joel Embiid's great.
No, maybe. Don't hype us up yet.
Championship weekend. First game, Chiefs versus Ravens. Ravens are at home.
Don't you dare.
God, I want the Ravens to win this game.
Don't you dare.
Do we want to do predictions first, or do we want to analyze some aspects of the game first?
Let's analyze first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs need to be really concerned about Lamar's running game.
Absolutely.
Not Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen ran all over that Chiefs defense. I obviously think Josh Allen as a runner is very different than Lamar as a runner. But
one's a Ford F-150, one's
a Ferrari.
Yep,
yeah.
And obviously I think more of Lamar's runs are schemed runs. Yep. Josh Allen more runs out of the pocket. But Willie Gay got injured during the
that's
Bills
game.
Going
to be a tough loss.
And he might play. I don't know if his status is confirmed, but it's going to be a big factor. I think Ravens have an edge in terms of like how Chiefs defended the quarterback run last week.
Yep.
They're going to have a tougher time this week with that. Ravens are obviously on better rest. The Chiefs have been having to play kind of like a lot of football recently.
Yep.
2 really cold games leaves a lot like the hits hurt more.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Obviously they're on the road. I think the Ravens are going to have to really get creative with how they use their receivers. Snead is great. McDuffie is
going
great.
to lock. Those 2 are really going to.
And those receivers didn't do much against the Texans. Now, obviously they were having a lot of success running the football.
Yeah.
In that game, so I don't know like what is what.
Nelson Aguilar
legacy game.
Yep.
But I think the Chiefs have a clear advantage there, where like kind of match up Snead against say Flowers and.
They can shut down the receivers, but I think the run game is going to be where.
Well, and that's where I think it's like, how can the Ravens' run game get going?
Yeah,
because I don't think they're going to have much success passing the ball.
Yeah.
Against the Chiefs. I really think this game is going to be a defensive battle.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know what the over under is, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game just because.
I just can't wait for this to get clipped when it's like 59.
Yeah, that's gonna be
like 59-48 or something like that.
Over under is 44.5.
44 and a
that's
half.
low, yeah.
22
Yeah.
each. I thought the Chiefs Bills would go under. Obviously, the Chiefs had a little bit more success scoring the ball than I thought they would, but I think it's going to be a defensive battle because the Ravens defense is really good.
It should be a defensive battle.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone.
The
has any
spread
other
is
thoughts.
3.5. I mean, there's
Spread's
two,
only 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a close game, and it's going to be a very defensively heavy game. I think unless the Ravens get their run game going, and if they do get that run game going, I don't think the Chiefs can stop the bleeding after that point.
Yeah.
Because like we saw Dalvin Cook starting to torch the Texans defense.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if because they rotated Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, Dalvin Cook, Lamar too at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Them four got it going, and it was just over for the Texans. And I feel like if the Chiefs let that run game start going, I don't know if they can stop it, because once you try to put all your assets into the box,
Then that's where
Zay Flowers is going to have a legacy game.
Yeah, because then he's going to be able to throw the slants and everything, and then yeah. I mean, it's strange because they're both built kind of similarly. I think the Ravens' offense overall, I think currently is better, but when it comes to like being able to make adjustments and stuff like that, I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will be able to dial something up, because they both have like very solid run games that they've kind of switched into decent pass games. I think the Ravens pass game is definitely better. Ravens defense is definitely better. I think their secondary is a little bit weaker, I think, than the Chiefs. But when it comes to like a front seven,
and linebackers,
Roquan Smith at linebacker is. I think he's gonna be the key difference in this game.
You cannot let Roquan Smith get to Patrick Mahomes all game.
No, they're not gonna. They can't let Jadeveon Clowney. They can't let Clowney get to him, because the thing is that it's going to be Roquan Smith. I think is going to be the definitive game changer in this game. If he can come up in the run game, shed blocks, and stop Isaiah Pacheco relatively close to the line, it's going to force the Chiefs to pass more. And with Kyle Hamilton screaming down there, like breaking up passes and stuff like that, I think that's where the Chiefs are really going to get in trouble.
They have good linebackers and safeties to match up with Travis Kelce, who gets a lot of those matchups.
Roquan Smith is a very fast linebacker. He can keep up. Patrick Queen is a much more run-stopping guy. He's not great in coverage, but he's still solid. And he'll probably be able to keep up with the other tight ends besides Kelce. So
it makes a huge difference. I mean, you saw the Bills. They were really depleted in the secondary and at linebacker, and
so depleted.
And Travis Kelce was finding gaps like we're used to finding him in soft spots in the zone.
Yep.
We make our predictions.
Let's hear it.
Me first.
Yeah. You.
The Chiefs are going to win.
I swear to. Oh my god.
The Chiefs are going to win. Patrick Mahomes is 13-3 in his playoff career. 2 of those losses were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, not 2 of them. 1 of them was in the Super Bowl. He lost to Brady in the Super Bowl when his offensive line was getting mauled by the Bucs because they were so injured. He lost in overtime to Brady when it was last year or second to last year with the Patriots. And he lost in overtime to Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So unless the Ravens win in overtime or because his offensive line is getting mauled, I'm not betting against the Chiefs. I don't like. I can make some analysis on why I think they're going to win again. I think their secondary is a big. I think the Ravens are going to have a tough time passing the ball, and I think they're going to have something in store. I think they let Josh Allen run around a little bit more because
Josh Allen.
I think they let Josh Allen.
I
think they let him run a lot more because a lot of it was more scramble stuff. Where I think they're going to have a lot more stuff schemed up to stop the Lamar run. I think Snead's having such a good season that I think Zay Flowers is going to probably be rendered. I'm not going to say useless, but I think he's going to be really
limited.
Yeah, definitely limited. I think the offense and Patrick Mahomes is really good as a dog. He's really good against the spread as a dog. And the reason the spread matters is the spread is 3.5. So sure.
It's close.
So if they're going to cover the spread, it's going to be a really tight game. And the person I trust in tight games is Patrick Mahomes. And call it like, okay, the Ravens might have a better offense. They might have a better defense, but who shows up to play
Who's
the game?
Got the X factor.
And it just...
Yeah.
It's hard.
It makes sense. Like it's not a bad take.
And I mean, could I see the Ravens winning the game? Absolutely. Like there's no. It's not like the Chiefs are bona fide. I was very confident the Chiefs were beating the Bills. I'm not as confident the Chiefs are beating the Ravens. But
is this like a 51-49 kind of thing, or is this
60-40?
60-40?
Yeah. But maybe even 65-35.
Oh, okay.
But I just think when you look at the way the Chiefs have lost in the playoffs before, it would either have to be a first time for the Ravens or they have very, very, very limited room for error.
Yeah.
And that's not what I would not want to have little room for error against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So I think the Chiefs find their way back to their 4th Super Bowl.
Good Lord.
I just hate the Chiefs. I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl every year at this point. I just want something different. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care how much the Ravens, as long as the Ravens win that game, I just want to see something different. Like, I could care less.
But Raj, do you think
I still think the Ravens are going to dog walk that? Well, not dog walk.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No, you said it. You said it.
Ravens by 6.
Okay. Interesting. Now, the issue is that Justin made some very convincing points.
As I did last week.
And
you almost flipped last week.
I almost did.
Don't listen to the analytics. Go with emotion. Do not listen to the analytics. They lie to you.
I think this is Lamar's year. There's something just about this team that just feels consistent and like they can just win. And this team reminds me a lot of like kind of those earlier Ravens teams where obviously it's very different because of like, the defense is obviously nowhere comparable, but it's much more of like the Ravens have found their identity in having a like smash mouth defense that will hit you at the line of scrimmage, great linebackers, great safety, pretty solid secondary. And they lean heavy on the run game, and they have a quarterback that can make the throws when he needs to. But of course, Lamar Jackson is that X factor, I think, that's going to be in the game where I don't think the Chiefs linebackers are going to be able to keep up with them. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to be able to.
It's a tough spot for their linebackers. I mean, again, I think Willie Gay, if he's healthy, is a huge component of this game. And I mean, maybe when people are watching us, we'll have an injury report on him.
And of course, Nick Bolton is a great linebacker. I think they had Tranquil come off. Like he's like the guy they pulled up from like the practice squad, I think, or they took him from another team or something. He's been playing great, but Lamar Jackson is just different. Like
Patrick Mahomes has lost by like more than 7 points once in his career or something. This is going to be a great football game.
This is going to be a great football game.
There's no situation. The Chiefs are not good enough, in my opinion, to blow out the Ravens. And Patrick Mahomes does not get blown out. So this is going to be an all-time classic.
I think for me, it's like a 51-49 kind of thing, leaning up just slightly to the Ravens, just because I feel like it's just a gut feeling.
And I mean, listen, the Super Bowl colors have to matter.
It has to be purple. It has to be purple.
When you're thinking about 1%, like 1.5% go to the Ravens and they break over the barrier a little bit.
Come on, of course, because we also saw the script leaked apparently on some Canadian news thing, whereas the 49ers versus the Ravens, whatever. Lamar, go win.
Next game, Lions versus 49ers. The 49ers at home.
Are we doing analysis or are we doing picks?
Let's do picks first and then we'll go analysis for this one. I'm not saying it with my chest.
You're saying Detroit, aren't you?
No, I'm not saying it with my chest.
Well, I am.
I'm going to take the 49ers. I said they were going to make the Super Bowl against the Chiefs a while ago when I started this. I still believe it. But gosh,
not confident?
I am not confident about the pick. I feel even though I was only 65-35 for the Chiefs Ravens, I'm less confident in the 49ers. I don't like how Brock Purdy looked against Tampa. I feel like it's the Lions' year a little bit.
Purdy against Tampa?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I don't like how he looked against the Packers.
Packers, there we go.
And it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff is not playing in a dome. And this is in a dome, I would feel differently.
Oh my God.
So because Jared Goff is
awful Santa Clara weather, really.
I would be sitting here saying that the Lions would win if they were on Ford Field because of the dome effect. But Jared Goff is not in a dome. The 49ers are the better roster. I think they'll finally be able to exploit like the weak line secondary like other teams have not been able to. The Debo injury is such a key factor of this, and we just don't know if he's going to be able to play.
Yeah.
But I think he'll go out there because he's a dog.
Yeah.
And the 49ers are going to win by 3 points. Dang. And it's going to be a rematch Super Bowl from a couple years ago.
Raj, what are you looking at?
I'm just trying to see where Jared Goff played before SoFi.
Before SoFi?
Before SoFi?
There was...
He played in the Los Angeles Coliseum.
He's from Cal.
Well, so...
I'm just trying to say, when he was on the Rams...
Well, that was the St. Louis Rams at that point still.
They moved to...
Well,
2016, and SoFi wasn't until 2020.
Yeah.
So he did play without a dome before in his career for a while.
But he wasn't good.
He wasn't that.
Wait.
It was
he did make a Super Bowl.
Well, there was one game that he was amazing in, and that was the Chiefs 2018 game, where that was literally the greatest play. That was the greatest.
Wasn't that
football.
in Mexico?
No, that was in the Coliseum.
Oh,
that's why it was.
Which was the game in Mexico? That was
there was a Mahomes versus Herbert.
That
game,
one, yeah,
in Mexico City.
But still, I'm not going to buy into the whole without the dome thing.
No, Herbert wasn't there. That was still Philip Rivers.
Yeah, I'm not buying into the whole he's not in a dome, he won't be good thing. I mean, you're a professional and you've played in this environment before in your career. I think he's going to be okay without the dome.
So what do you?
I'm thinking Lions win. I think Lions -1.5.
Dang. Okay.
I think what's going to happen is we saw what Jordan Love was able to do with their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Against their secondary, no Mufunga. Did I say that right?
Mufunga? Yeah, Mufunga.
Yeah. Mufunga's not there. I think, don't they have a rookie back there at the linebackers?
They do.
Yeah.
No, not at safety. They do.
Yeah, because you saw the PIs he was giving up.
Yeah, he was getting torched part way through
Jaden Reed and them, they're all young, but the Lions have Among Us. They have Josh Reynolds, who's a solid vet at this point. Laporta too.
And Gibbs comes out of the backfield a ton.
Yeah. Zach Ertz.
Zach
Ertz's corpse is out there too. Yeah.
Not his corpse.
The 49ers defense, they cannot give up those PIs again. Because if they do, the Lions are going to take over. Yeah. Because if you let up that deep ball, it's over.
So you're taking Lions minus
1.5. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Lions are going to edge this out.
They're going to what?
You heard me. You heard me.
What did he say?
Do I sound like the NFL announcers yet?
Not yet. They got to be way more sus.
And Raj, just to point to what you said. Yeah, I think there's multiple units of the 49ers who aren't playing well right now. And that's the concern. It's not like it's, Brock Purdy's not playing well. It's like, I don't think either Lions are playing good right now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they've got a little bit of injuries in the secondary, and Debo's injured. So
only consistent really is linebacker
and running back,
Warner and CMC
and tight end.
Yeah,
those three. But okay. So I've been listening to. I've been doing some research.
Joe Rogan?
No, what? Where did that come from? No,
Ben Shapiro.
Well, if hypothetically we were to kiss underneath the bleachers,
then hypothetically,
stop. Okay. Anyway, God damn it, my train of thought is gone.
You're doing a lot of research.
I was actually listening to some I was listening to some different sports channels. I was doing some research because this was the game that was most interesting to me, and I am taking the Lions.
Okay.
Because not only...
Changing your pick?
Yeah, I am. I'm taking the Lions because I think that the Lions' run game is going to be the X factor in this game. Because if Aaron Jones was able to run all over him, I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as a 1-2 punch is going to be able to do a lot with that. I think that Laporta's kind of going to get shut down a little bit because of how good Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner are, but I don't think they're going to keep up with Amon-Ra. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Reynolds, and just the way that the Lions have been playing. You're gonna say some stuff after I say this. They feel a lot like the 2007 Giants, where they're not amazing, they're just winning games. Like they obviously that Giants team was ridiculous, where they went and beat Aaron Rodgers, they beat Dallas, whatever.
Yeah,
but this just feels like a team of destiny. I know that's a lot. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they would beat the Ravens personally, but I just the way that the momentum is going, they have so much building up. And with how rusty the 49ers looked, unless the 49ers can kick it into high gear and really just turn around everything in this game immediately, it has to be from play one.
Yep.
They need to be the ones punching them in the mouth. They need to be the ones pushing the players off, getting in their face, dominating from the line of scrimmage. If they can't do that, they're screwed, because
Yeah.
this Lions team fights.
Yeah.
The 49ers need to start with a lead.
They have to start with a lead.
If you play from behind, I don't know if they can
They're
ever come
1-30.
back.
Yeah. Trailing by 5 in the fourth quarter.
I just think it's not. I'm not saying the teams are similar. Just the feeling of
No,
Giants.
like I said,
think they could.
I think the 49ers will win, but I'm not saying it with like a ton of confidence.
I got Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And
It's either going to be Justin's going 0-2 or 2-0.
I was going to say,
I mean, all of us.
It's a Hail Mary.
well, no, we could go 1-1 too.
Yeah.
I think the more fun scenario for the podcast is that either you two are 0-2,
Yeah.
and I'm 2-0, or I'm 0-2 and you're 2-0.
Yeah.
Or we're 1-1. That sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be an exciting week of football. I think we have 2 great games lined
Things
up.
are going to be awesome.
Yup. Before we go, let's make our new Super Bowl predictions just ahead of time
Don't
because
do it to
might as
me.
well. You've got the Ravens. Both of you two have the Ravens and the Lions in the Super Bowl. Who pulls out the win and wins the 2024 NFL championship?
Personally, for me, we have a friend who's a Lions fan, and I got a lot of flack for when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl last year. And I would like her to feel the same pain I did when I had to see Jalen Hurts throw that excuse of an Hail Mary, and I saw us lose that game after Agent Tony and Agent Bradbury cost us the Super Bowl. So I would like her to feel the same pain I did, having to sit on my floor with my hood like this and just depressed for the next few days. I hope this is a straight emotional pick. I hope the Ravens beat the Lions in the Super Bowl just so she could feel the pain I felt. That's all. This is all based off emotion.
You're such a rat.
You are such a scumbag, bro. Just picking out a pure spite.
Exactly.
Vengeance.
Vengeance. You know what? I like my quarterback's quarterbacking. Give me Lamar Jackson. Give me Lamar. Don't you do it. Don't you say the Chiefs. Don't you say it. Don't you say the
He's
Chiefs.
gonna say it.
It would be hilarious. No, okay. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. That would be so funny, just because the world would implode if
Yeah.
they saw Taylor Swift touch a Lombardi Trophy. That would be so.
Stop it! It's
that
gonna
would-
happen
That would,
now.
it would be so funny. That would be hilarious. The world would implode. The memes would go crazy. But you.
You know my money line curse. I'm putting all my money on the Chiefs just to see them lose.
Say it.
I predicted Chiefs 49ers, and I feel good about the pick still.
Say it.
I said the 49ers would win the Super Bowl.
Say it.
Give me Patrick Mahomes!
Oh my God, you
to win the Super Bowl. 3 Super Bowls
Oh my God.
on his path to be the GOAT.
Oh my God.
They're going to keep wondering why they doubted him all year. The offense isn't good. The receivers are so bad, even though they're better than last year. He's going to win the Super Bowl.
For an Eagles fan, the glazing for Patrick Mahomes is unreal from you right now.
Yeah.
Like, this
I
is
don't have
concerning.
any spite. I don't have any spite against the Chiefs. The Eagles could have won that Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts fumbled the football.
I know.
James
They
Bradbury held.
James
I
Bradbury
still
held.
I know. I understand. We shot ourselves in the foot like we always do, but still, I just
no
can't.
spite.
with the
I don't hold a
Chiefs.
grudge unless it's the Cowboys.
Fair enough.
True.
All right.
Hey, at least we can't see the Cowboys in the NFC Championship.
Good job,
for a while.
everybody.
Yay!
All right, boys. Good episode. 1 hour and 20 minutes. Shout out to Joel Embiid. 70 points. Franchise high in Sixers history. And that's it. We'll see you next week when we have our Super Bowl lineup set.
Jeez. This is going to be interesting.
Yep.
I can't wait for the Pro Bowl.
Come on, Lamar. Do it for me.
I hope Mac Jones makes it again.